The gravel road leading into Oakhaven County was a place where local law felt untouchable. Roderick, the county sheriff, sat in his customized cruiser, his bold red tie loosened at the neck. He didn't govern by the book. He governed by fear, treating the county line like a personal border. He had spent 20 years building a reputation for cleaning up his town, which usually meant targeting anyone who didn't fit his narrow vision of a resident. Driving a deep Navy SUV, Genevieve cruised toward the city limits. She was dressed in a white linen suit with a deep navy silk camisole, her yellow leather tote resting on the passenger seat. Genevieve was a high-level civil rights attorney, and she was in town to investigate a series of misconduct reports. She remained quiet and observant, her deep navy eyes scanning the horizon. When the sheriff's cruiser suddenly swerved across 2 lanes to force her onto the shoulder, she didn't panic. She activated her dashboard camera and waited, her hands resting calmly on the steering wheel. Roderick didn't bother with a siren. He jumped out of his car and marched toward Genevieve's window. He reached out and slammed his heavy palm against the driver's side window, the glass vibrating under blow. Then he grabbed the door handle and violently jerked it open. "Out of the car now. I don't like your look, and I don't like your attitude," Roderick roared, his face twisted in a sneer. "Officer, I haven't even spoken yet. What is the basis for this stop?" Genevieve asked, her voice steady and resonant. Roderick's response was purely physical. He reached into the vehicle, grabbed Genevieve by the shoulder of her white suit, and physically dragged her out of the SUV. As she stood on the gravel, he delivered a heavy-handed shove to her chest, pinning her against the side of her own vehicle. He then signaled to his deputy, Killian, who was wearing a bold red-trimmed vest. Killian reached into the cruiser, pulled out a heavy set of rusted chains, and dropped them into Genevieve's yellow tote bag. The justice debt reached a boiling point. Killian moved in behind Genevieve, grabbing her wrists and jerking them upward behind her back in a painful arrest maneuver. "You're going to the county lockup for possession of stolen property," Killian hissed. The witnesses in the scene, the drivers of a delivery van and 2 local cars, watched the assault in horror. A young man in a white hoodie, Asher, leaned out of his window, his phone capturing every second of the sheriff's physical aggression. A woman in a yellow sundress, Iris, stood on the shoulder, her face a mass of fury as she shouted, "I saw the deputy drop those in her bag. Let her go." The scene was a blur of white and yellow justice as the witnesses recorded the blatant frame-up. "You might want to check the registration on that vehicle, Sheriff," Genevieve said, her face pressed against the hot metal of the SUV. "It's registered to the Department of Justice." "I don't care if it's registered to the Pope. In this county, I'm the..." Roderick was cut off by the scream of tires. A black-on-black Federal Interceptor roared onto the shoulder, skidding to a halt inches from the sheriff's cruiser. Asher, Genevieve's husband and a lead federal prosecutor, stepped out of the car. He was dressed in a deep navy suit and a white shirt, his expression one of cold, lethal focus. The atmosphere on the gravel road shifted from local harassment to a federal crime scene in a heartbeat. Asher didn't walk. He charged. Before Roderick could even process the arrival of the Federal Interceptor, Asher was on him. Asher reached out and grabbed the front of Roderick's uniform with both hands, physically slamming the sheriff back against his own cruiser. "Get your hands off my wife, or I will have you in federal chains before the sun sets." Asher roared, his deep navy suit sharp against the dusty road. Roderick's aggressive snarl didn't vanish. It turned into a panicked, defensive bark. "This is my jurisdiction. She's under arrest for possession." "Possession of what?" Genevieve asked, standing tall as she adjusted her deep navy camisole. She reached down, picked up her yellow tote, and held it open. "You mean these rusted chains your deputy just planted?" "The ones currently being recorded by 3 different high-definition dash cams and a dozen witnesses." Asher didn't let go of Roderick's collar. Instead, he pulled a yellow-encased digital device from his pocket and held it inches from Roderick's face. The screen showed a crystal-clear, live-feed replay of Killian in his bold red-trimmed vest, dropping the chains into the bag. "I am a lead prosecutor for the Eastern District," Asher said, his voice dropping to a terrifying, quiet, deep Navy tone. "And you just committed a civil rights violation, witness tampering, and evidence fabrication against a Department of Justice employee." The Power shift isn't coming, Sheriff. It's already here. Two more black SUVs screeched to a halt, and federal agents in deep Navy tactical gear swarmed the scene. They didn't ask questions. They moved with clinical precision. Killian tried to bolt toward the woods, but an agent caught him by the back of his bold red-trimmed vest, physically tackling him into the dirt. The witnesses in the scene, the crowd in white and yellow, erupted in cheers. Iris, in her yellow sundress, moved closer, her phone inches from Roderick's face as he was stripped of his authority. Sheriff Roderick, Asher said, his eyes cold. You spent 20 years treating this badge like a weapon. Today, the weapon is being taken back. Asher reached down and gripped the silver star pinned to Roderick's chest. With a violent, aggressive jerk, he ripped the badge off, tearing the fabric of the uniform shirt. He then threw the badge into the dust at Genevieve's feet. The federal agents forced Roderick to his knees in the gravel. They didn't just handcuff him. They physically hoisted him up by his arms in his bold red tie, dragging him toward the back of the federal transport. Killian followed, face down and defeated. As the federal vehicles prepared to leave, Asher turned to the witnesses. Thank you for standing your ground. We'll be needing those videos for the grand jury. Genevieve climbed into the passenger seat of Asher's Interceptor, her white suit a symbol of victory. As they drove away, leaving Oakhaven County behind, the royal blue strobes of the federal fleet lit up the night, a signal to the town that the reign of the red-tie sheriff was officially over.